Hooray! It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, baby.
Thank you. Happy birthday to me. Birthday, you guys wish me a happy birthday in the comments. Maybe wish me a happy birthday.
Baby, happy birthday. I love you so much.
So today I am approaching this birthday with a grateful heart because on this day last year I was at McMaster's Children's Hospital with high-risk pregnancy doctors trying to keep my baby from being preterm. You see, my baby Isabella here. We were battling. We had no summer last year. But the essence of this video is to share that story with you guys. So today we're going to go back to where it all started from and how it started. Okay? Stay tuned. Yeah.
It was a Friday, right?
Yes, it was a Friday because we're supposed to go to the beach with your cousins the following day on the Saturday. Yeah.
And it started for me when I found you in our bedroom, doubled over with your face on the bed, kneeling on the floor.
Yeah, I was in a lot of pain. In fact, I was in labor.
I was like, Zeno, what are you doing?
And at this time, I was only 24 weeks pregnant.
24 or 26?
No, it was 24.
Was it 24?
Yeah. No, 25 weeks. Yeah.
25. And we're trying to get to 26.
Yes, I was 25 weeks pregnant at this time, and I was just there. Like, I was in a lot of pain. I didn't even call. I'm like, am I in labor? What's the problem? So I just stayed there, like, managing the pain.
But the pain was contractions.
Yeah, it was contractions. I was having contractions. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started timing them,
Yeah.
and they weren't getting any better. So we called the midwife, and they suggested a warm bath, right?
Yeah. So the contractions were like 5 minutes apart while we're timing them, and the midwife said, go get a warm bath, and Paul ran me a bath. I was in the water, and we kept timing the contractions. In fact, before we even called the midwife, we hadn't called the midwife at this time, right?
Oh, maybe we read about it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And for a while, the bath helped, didn't it?
Yeah, the bath helped for a while. Like, I still had the contractions, but it didn't space them apart. But I think that I was more relaxed because I was in the water bath. And that was when we decided that we were going to call the midwife. And what happened when you tried to call?
What did happen? I couldn't get a hold of her?
There was no network that day.
Oh, right! Bell was out of network.
The network was down.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
And remember I went to the neighbors.
In fact, you ran. You didn't just go,
See
you
if I could
ran
borrow
there.
their phone.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I remember that, yeah. We had to borrow a phone.
No, you couldn't even borrow. So you went there to borrow the phone, but he told you he was using the phone for a meeting, and he showed you how to make a call over Zoom.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
used my work computer.
Yes. Yeah.
To call the midwife on MS Teams.
Yes.
MS Teams.
Yeah.
And so we got a hold of a midwife. It was hard to get a hold of the midwives too because the network outage and all the midwives use cell phones and half of them were on Bell,
Yes.
right? And so we finally got a midwife, and not long after they said, go to the hospital and we'll meet you there, right?
Yeah.
So the three of us, me, you, and Somto, we hopped in the car and sped over to the hospital. And that was a big pain in the butt because kids still weren't allowed in the hospital because of COVID, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you and Somto had to be in the waiting room, and I went in alone. Like, I know how stressful it was for you not knowing what was going on. Like, is there a problem with the baby? What's the issue? So I was there alone in a lot of pain. Paul and Somto were on the other side because kids were not allowed. He couldn't get into the ward. And when I got there, and the doctor checked me, and she's like, wow, you're in labor. How far gone are you again? I'm like, 24 weeks. Like, yeah, we have a 24 week right here. You are in labor. So she checked to see that the labor was actually leading to dilations. And when she checked, I was actually dilating. I was at 1 centimeter dilation by the time I got to the hospital at 24 weeks. So I know that we had read up some things that it's possible that if your cervix is opening, they can stitch it up and do some sort of medical things to manage the situation. But she said it was too late. I think they don't do it past 22 weeks. Yeah.
I wasn't there for that discussion, so I'm
Yeah.
not 100%, but I do know that the Grand River Hospital here in Kitchener doesn't handle babies that early,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So I stayed there. They monitored me for the night, and I stayed the following day. I know that you and Somto came. No, you came to the hospital briefly because Somto couldn't come in too, and that day was a Saturday. So they monitored me, and on Saturday night,
Was it Saturday night?
yes, when the
Okay.
doctor came back on Saturday night. So this was around July 10th. The doctor came back on Saturday night. The doctor on night duty. She came and she checked me again. I had already gone from 1 centimeter dilation to 1.5 centimeters dilation. The pain, the labor wasn't stopping. The contraction wasn't stopping. And once she realized that, this was like 5 minutes after you and Tomto had just left the hospital. Yeah, you guys came for a visit. You came in. I think Somto was sitting in the ward or something, and then you just came to stop by briefly to check. And you guys had just gone when the doctor said that. Doctor was like, yeah, you are still dilating. If you go into, like, if your cervix keeps opening, we cannot manage it in this hospital. Like, this hospital, Grand River Hospital, doesn't have the facility to manage it. We have to move you now. I'm like, right now? She said, yes, we have to move you to McMaster's Children's Hospital in Hamilton. I'm like, okay, like, are we going right now? It's like, I'm going to arrange for a nurse. We'll leave in 5 minutes. At this time, Paul was just driving out of the hospital, and I called him that they are moving me to McMaster. It was almost midnight. Take note, it was almost midnight. So we're in the middle of a crisis where I was in labor, being transferred to another hospital. I had all those connections, connected things on my body, on my hand. They moved me in the bed, into the ambulance.
Who got in touch with Rava then?
I think it was you.
Was
So
it me?
yeah,
Okay.
so I called you and I was like, please call my cousin so that you can take Somto to their house and then you meet me at the hospital. So I got into the ambulance and they drove, like, with all the sirens and everything.
The whole time?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And even though it was late, there was no traffic, but they wanted to get there as fast as they could. So we got to the hospital, and when we got there, they moved me into the ward. And
No, weren't you in the waiting room?
yeah, so they first of all moved me into the ward, and the
Oh,
nurses
okay.
there told them to move me back to the waiting room, that they don't have beds. And the waiting room was like chairs to sit down. I was in so much pain, I just couldn't sit. I had to lie down on the floor. So I was on the floor laying down alone with all of these contractions, and it was very difficult to bear. And I remember having to call you, and you had just gotten in contact with Rava, and you had to drive first of all from Kitchener to Brantford, which is 1 hour drive, to drop Somto and then drive back to Hamilton. That's like 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So while I waited, and I still remember seeing you running down into to meet me where I was that day. And when Paul got there, the nurses were like, I think after then they had a bed. So they took me into the
We
ward.
hung around in the waiting room for at least 20 minutes though together.
Okay, yeah, and then they got
I think you were half asleep though.
Yeah. And then they got me a room, and we get in the room on the bed, and of course they put all their things again. Check the baby, check me, attach everything. And that was when the journey actually started. I had no idea that we're going to be in that hospital for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Starting that day.
That was insane.
Yeah. And that was our journey at McMaster's Children's Hospital. So they have all these high-risk doctors there, and the doctor came that night and she checked, and that was when she started talking about like the plans for what we were going to do if we were going to have like a preterm baby. So I'm going to, because I think that this was mostly a conversation with you, because most of the time I was half asleep or screaming in pain.
You were in a lot of pain.
Yeah, and I think that I'm going to leave you to talk about this part.
Okay. Yeah, so it was a lot of stuff. The preterm, all the medical stuff, right? Because you know, at that point, Isabella was you know, two-thirds of the way along or so, and she was not fully developed yet, and she wasn't supposed to be coming out at that time. and so there was a lot of risks in terms of, you know, the possibility of brain damage and cerebral palsy in particular, which is that disability where you can't walk properly, and it was, you know, the survival rates were really high because of the medical technology that exists, but they were, you know, Isabella would still have had to have been in the
NICU,
the neonatal intensive care unit, for weeks and weeks and weeks, and not in her mother's body, and not getting contact from her parents constantly, because it's not possible. It was a really scary thought, but what the doctors basically said the plan was they had a drug that could stop the contractions, and they expected that the contractions would start up again after a few days, but the objective was to give Zeno a steroid called Celestone, I think it was, and that steroid would kickstart Isabella's lung development, so that if she was born prematurely, she would be able to breathe and survive. So we agreed to do that. So Zeno got the drug for the contractions, and we got the Celestone, and we had nothing left to do but pray and hope, right?
Yeah, I still remember one of those nights where, of course, you were sitting on the chair beside me and you were sleeping. It was really late in the night, and like all I could do was just pray. I remember breaking down in tears, and I was crying, and I was just trying to be strong as well. But I was crying, and the nurse heard me, and she came into the room and she's like, "Are you okay?" When she came, I just wiped my tears quickly, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." So I'll cry. I couldn't even pray. Like, I couldn't find the words. It was difficult to even pray. And all I could do was like listen to like worship songs, and of course we had an army of people praying. Like my mom, who is a staunch Catholic, went to a Catholic church and gathered all the prayer warriors there, and they were praying. My friend from Jamaica called her mother, where they have prayer warriors. Those ones were praying. My older brother would call me every day to pray. My best friend Lizzie, she called her mother, her grandmother, herself. It was a chain of prayers. I'm sure that even heaven knew that time that people were calling. Like, we called. Because I remember when the pediatrician came to have a conversation with me about all the possible things that could happen when this baby is born, and I'm like, God, you will not give me a baby that I would have to push in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Like, all we're hoping for is a miracle. Just push it for us so that this baby can stay in longer. Or even when the social worker came to prepare us, do you remember when she showed us a picture of what
the preterm baby?
Yes,
yeah,
of
they're
what
so small.
Of what a 25-weeker baby looks like.
They're so small, and they're hooked up to so many things.
Like, yeah, like they're
like
injecting them from
and
everywhere.
Wires.
Yeah.
And it was horrifying.
Yeah.
So at some point I said, you know, if Isabella should be born early, she should come on my birthday, not 26 weeks, right?
Yeah.
I distinctly remember that. I distinctly remember saying that's what it should be if she's going to come early. Did I say that to you out loud?
Yeah, you said it to me. Yeah. So I remember that once the 48 hours was over.
That's how long the contraction drug was supposed to last.
Yeah, so once 48 hours was over, the contractions came back. But they were not as intense as it was before. And at this time, I was already like 2 centimeters dilated. And also we're doing like non-stress tests, they're called NSTs, and sometimes we had like issues with the baby's heartbeat where they feel like, okay, we didn't hear baby's heartbeat for a while or something. Like, there was always something, right? So that's why they had to keep keeping me in that hospital.
Yeah. Well, the doctors said you weren't going to come out until Isabella was born. That's what they said. Yeah,
that's what they said at first. Yeah, I was going to be here until Isabella was born. Because I remember when we got there, we were in a room that was just by the door, away from the window, And after a while, when one of those window beds became vacant, the nurse came and moved. She was like, yeah, for our long-term customers, we put them by the window so that they can get some sunlight.
Oh my God, I don't miss that room.
Yeah. So
And that chair was horrible to sleep in.
yeah, I saw you sleep on the chair. Like
That's
like for 3 weeks, Paul slept on the chair beside me. Now I know that some of you may be thinking, where was Somto in all of this? Yeah, because that's another part that I want to talk about, right? So my cousin was kind enough to keep Somto for like a week, and I remember Somto coming to visit me the first time in the hospital. Was so happy to see me, but it looks like after a while he got uncomfortable, and I didn't know why. And the next time that he was going to come to the hospital, he told Paul that he didn't want to come. And Paul was like, why? You don't want to see Mama? What's going on? And he says, I can't bear to see her like that in hospital clothes, looking sick. I cannot bear to see her like that. I remember he came and he told me that, yeah, whenever something is coming, I have to change my clothes and wear like my house clothes and like try to look neat,
look better for him, basically.
And look better for him.
Because it was hard for Somto. He loves his mother so much, and the thought of her not, him not having her, it was too much for him.
Yeah, and it really broke my heart too when he said that, like, I can't bear to see her like that, so I would just stay away. Yeah, it was difficult.
Fortunately, you had a dress that went on easy, right?
Yeah.
You put it on over all the stuff.
Yeah, so I just put on my dress, and Somto will come visit, and when it's gone, because I had to wear the hospital gown because they were always poking one place or the other, putting something, checking something. So it was just convenient for me, for the nurses, for the doctors to have that hospital gown on. And now let's go to the birthday. On the day of my birthday, we have been there for like a little over a week.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and on that birthday, I just told God, like I said a prayer that day, and like, God, if you give me a birthday present, just allow my baby to stay inside of my body, my womb. Allow me to carry this baby until full term. And on that birthday, I know that Paul was like planning what we're gonna do, and I'm like, I just want to stay here. And like, he insisted, so he went out. He bought me, I still have it. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of it. I should have brought it here. It's in our bedroom. It was like this rose inside of like a water ball.
It's like a glass ball with some liquid that preserves the flower.
Yeah, I still have it. I should take a picture. I should
know
have
you
brought
have
it
it,
here.
yeah.
So he bought that, and he bought my best cake, my favorite cake, and the brand as well. I like the La Roca red velvet cake. So Paul went out and he bought that cake, and he's like, yeah, I know that we're in the hospital, we're dealing with a lot, but it's your birthday, we still have to celebrate your birthday. And we did that. For the first time, I wore a dress, and he's like, I want to take you out. So even if you can't go out, like go out on a proper date, let me take you out of this room.
We went for a walk.
Yeah,
on
so
the
he
grounds.
asked the nurses if it was okay, and they're like, yeah, you can take her out, but don't take her outside of the hospital premises. So we went on a nice date that day, on a walk.
Do I have to take you in a wheelchair?
The nurses suggested, but like, I'm okay, I can walk.
Okay,
so yeah, so we went on a nice date that day outside, just around the hospital. Like, that was my best day in the hospital. So we stayed there, like we had a chat, had some fresh air. We were grateful that we still had our baby inside her mother's body. Yeah, and we just talked. I think we called your parents too. They were happy to see us outside and not in that squeeze in a cubicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we went back in and we ate the cake.
You ate the cake.
Oh yeah, you couldn't eat the cake. Yeah, so you could eat. So I ate the cake. I had a slice of cake, and we put the rest of it in the freezer so it doesn't go bad. Yeah, it was a nice birthday. My friend Christine also came on that day as well. Christine and Timmy. Christine brought me like some birthday presents. I had my friends come around. I think my friend Lizzie didn't come, but she had come the day before.
Yeah, Lizzie came what, once or twice?
So she came every Friday.
Every Friday was
Yeah,
that
she was
it?
there once in a week. So she'll
Yeah.
come every Friday
Lizzie
and
came a
bring
lot.
bring food. Like she'll bring food for the week, because she wanted me to have
Hospital
homemade
food is so bad.
Yeah,
so bad.
Yeah,
and
so
sometimes they'd forget to bring food.
Yeah, sometimes,
oh
yeah.
My God.
Yeah, so Lizzie, my friend, came every Friday with like food, and she'll stay with me and chat and pray. She's a Catholic, so she'll pray the rosary, bring olive oil and put on my head, put on my stomach, like she did everything to show that she was there for me, to support me. She'll call me every day, she'll pray, even call her mother when she's there with me. Okay, so mommy, pray. We had the support of friends and family. I also had my cousins come visit, show their support. Yeah, so we stayed in that hospital, and they continued to monitor.
Well, I mean, other than a couple weeks later, we got out, right?
Yeah, and by the time we were leaving the hospital, we were already 3 centimeters dilated.
Yeah, you were going to be on strict bed rest. Zeno sucks at staying horizontal. She's always trying to do stuff. But I was like, you can't, right? you have to stay in your bed because you're, and I think you did a pretty good job of being on bed rest.
I did my best. I still shoot videos, make content.
But you were careful.
Yeah, I was careful. Sometimes I'll still try to clean, but doctor was like, no cleaning, no walk, like don't go to work. All you need to do is lie down on the bed. That was the strict instruction. But I remember that day that we left the hospital. We didn't even talk about Rogue. Your cousin was kind enough to take our dog. Yeah, for the entire time.
Yeah.
Remember that day that we left? I was so happy. Like, I was happy for 2 reasons. The first one is the fact that I was happy to leave the hospital with my baby still inside of me.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because they said, the contractions were going to come back and she's going to come prematurely.
Yeah. And they had even showed us the McDonald's house where we could stay.
Yeah, the Ronald McDonald
house. So
yeah.
If you have like a preterm baby and your baby is in NICU and you don't stay in that city, because we don't live in Hamilton. So they have like a house where they allow families to stay so that you can come spend time with your baby all the time.
Charge.
Yeah, at no charge.
Yeah.
And then also it was going to like be a big change because we're going into school was going to resume in September. If we're at McMaster in Hamilton, how does Somto go to school? Like there was a lot at stake. And that was the reason why the day we left the hospital, I was so happy that we're leaving the hospital with a baby still where she should be and our family together.
Yeah.
And the second reason I was happy is that we were back united together. So there was Rogue in the car, there was Somto, there was me, there was Paul, all of us united back together. We are going back to our home.
And we love being together. Like Rogue was very happy to Rogue is our dog, and she was very happy to have everyone back together. Somto was so happy to have his mother back, and I was happy to have my beautiful baby back, and my other beautiful baby where she belongs, Oh my God, that was incredible.
Yeah, on days like this, or at times like this, I'm grateful to have a very supportive family that's there to support me, like take Somto when they have to, come visit me, cook, bring food, like just provide whatever support they can. Even my siblings, even though they were in the UK, they were very supportive. Like even if all they had to do was to make phone calls, but they had to make the phone calls to make sure that everybody was there and I got the help that I needed. And then my friends, like, they would always be there no matter what. They show up no matter what. And my friends Lizzie and Kristen, wow. Those girls are my best girls.
And also your lab guy's wife.
Oh yeah, Gloria.
Yeah.
Gloria came because when I went to the hospital, I was a mess. My hair, I carry natural on relaxed hair, and my hair was not made. It was a mess, like it was puffy. Gloria came to the hospital and she cleaned me up. Like she came, she took me, showered me, made my hair, came with food, came with everything. Like when Gloria left the hospital, I was looking clean.
You have really good friends and families.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, and then Paul, like he was there the entire time, sleeping on the chair. There were times where I'll move on the bed. I'm like, come, let's squeeze in, and he'll be like, no, Z, I really want you to be comfortable, right? Like it was difficult for me to see him sleep there for 3 weeks straight on that chair, and he was also working, mind you. So he sleeps on the chair at night, and because he was working from home, he goes to, there was a lounge there, right?
There was a lounge.
Yeah, so he go to the lounge for his meetings and do work, and in between he's going back and forth.
And I took the first week, I had messaged the people on my project, this is what's going on, I gotta go, I'll see you later. And I didn't realize that I hadn't followed up for so long. Eventually, corporate human resources from my company was calling my phone. Are you still alive? Where the hell are you?
Oh yeah.
I told you about that, right?
Yeah.
So then that's when I got back to working.
Yeah, so we're doing that. So it was like see, I'm gonna tell you guys something. In this life, just have a partner that supports you and shows up no matter what. Because life will come with its own stresses, but when you and your partner stands together, it's like you guys can fight anything that comes together. And even if you can't, but you are together and you know that you are not alone. That was how I felt during that time. And also, I'm grateful to my body for keeping my baby inside, right? Because I fought hard to keep the baby inside, and also Isabella fought to remain inside. Yeah. No matter what, she still stayed. And we have another story for you guys to talk about her birth. Because remember, Paul said that he had said that if this baby wants to be born early, let her come on my birthday.
Yeah, and this piece of the story is not some like after the fact interesting thing that I'm artificially adding. I actually said, hey, if this baby's gonna come early, it might as well be on my birthday, because her due date was October 15th and my birthday is September 16th.
Yeah.
And that's close enough that she'd be, healthy and good and all of that, right?
Yeah. She was actually born on that day.
Yeah.
That story will be released on Paul's birthday.
And everybody says, oh, you don't get a birthday anymore, Paul. And I say, you don't realize, apparently, that, the very first time, of course, my daughter is the present, and then every year after that, another year with her is the present, right? People don't seem to understand that at all. Like,
yeah, you have a forever birthday present.
That's right.
Yeah, lucky you.
Yeah.
And I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad she didn't come on my birthday.
Oh.
Because it would have been another story
Yeah.
if she was born on my birthday. Anyways,
Yeah.
I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. Stay tuned for the next part about the birth story that will be released on September 16th. That's Paul and Isabella's birthday. Okay? Alright, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you are new here, thank you for watching. Like this video, share it, do whatever you want with the video. I don't mind. And also on this page, I mostly talk about studying abroad, scholarships, admissions, loans, and relocating abroad. But sometimes because I'm a human being, I bring like some sort of lifestyle, right? And previously I shared how me and Paul met, and today I'm sharing my preterm labor story. And again, it's my birthday. You guys wish me a happy birthday in the comments. Maybe wish me a happy birthday.
Baby, happy birthday. I love you so much.
I love you too. Bye.